Hello, everyone. So I'm already back with another date to watch and more supernatural reasons. The Lord has now made it very clear to me personally what time to watch next for the rapture of the church. As I've said before, this is why I get excited. The Lord tells my wife and I in various unmistakable ways what specific time to look forward to next and check for the rapture. Jesus has been stepping us towards the harpazo like this ever since late summer of 2022. Note that Jesus has never promised us that he will come on one of these future watch dates he points us to, but we are fully convinced that he will someday come on one of these specific times he tells us to check for the rapture. This process is a multi-step treasure hunt. Each time the next step comes in the form of Jesus telling us essentially, okay, now I want you to look forward to this next specific date, expectant of the rapture. And with each new step, the likelihood that the date really is that of the time of the rapture increases, since we know for big picture reasons, especially Genesis 1 and the sexto-septimillennial construct, that the rapture is just about to happen. Now, this is not the same kind of thing as what happened to Joshua Malekla. Jesus told Joshua that on the 23rd and 24th of September 2025, he would come to take his church. Jesus did not merely tell Joshua to watch those dates for the rapture. He told Joshua that he would come on the 23rd and 24th for the purpose of taking his church. And this is just what I believe happened. On those days, Jesus came down to earth. As I've presented before, there is a great deal of biblical precedent for Jesus coming down to earth well ahead of his accomplishing the thing he comes down to do. The Lord consistently works through an extended process, not in an instant. You need look no further than the first chapter of the Bible to see this. The Lord could have instantly popped out all of creation into existence with a word, but instead he created it all in a process that lasted for 6 days. And then he rested from that first work week on the seventh day to drive home the point that creation had been an extended, laborious process for him. If you've been following my channel, you know I'm convinced that ever since September 23 through 24, 2025, the Lord has been in a rapture process that began with his descent to earth and will end with our ascent with him to heaven. We now look not for Jesus to come down, as he has already done that. We look for Jesus to be revealed to us and take us with him back to heaven. As 1 Peter 1:13 says, we gird up the loins of our minds and are sober, hoping to the end for the grace that is to be brought unto us at the revelation of Jesus Christ. He descended to earth on September 23 through 24, 2025. We look forward to his revealing, the revelation of Jesus Christ. Now I'm making this video today because I have for you not only a theory regarding the next high watch, but also, as of yesterday, a very supernatural personal confirmation of it. Let's start with my theory. Jesus told Joshua Malekla in 2018, and I quote, "From the time that Israel became a nation in 1948, there will be 77 years to the Exodus. On the 23rd and 24th of September 2025, I will come to take my church. Then afterward, there will be a 7-year tribulation on those left behind. Then, on the 15th of September 2032, I will return to earth as king." There are 4 sentences here. Only the first 2 sentences introduce the specific time of the rapture. The third sentence presents a 7-year tribulation for those left behind. The fourth sentence presents the time of the second coming, at the end of those 7 years. If Jesus' words to Joshua are true, and as I said, I've become very certain that they are true, then the 7 years leading up to the second coming, in the fall of 2032, began in the fall of 2025. This is a simple arithmetic fact. Jesus came to take his church at the beginning of these 7 years of tribulation on the left behind, and thus commenced the rapture process. Yet the saints to be raptured did not ascend to heaven at the beginning of these 7 years, obviously. Of course, this does not mean that they are now a part of the left behind group as of September 23 through 24, 2025. It just means that the rapture process, which began then, is yet to complete with their ascension. So we are looking for that completion. And I say we look in the first 2 sentences of Jesus to Joshua just quoted, the ones which had everything to do with the specific time of the rapture. From the time that Israel became a nation in 1948, there will be 77 years to the Exodus. On the 23rd and 24th of September 2025, I will come to take my church. As you probably know, the Lord says in Isaiah 46:10, I make known the end from the beginning. So it stands to reason that the first of these two sentences is a description of the time of the end of the rapture process, while the last of these two sentences is a description of the time of the beginning of the rapture process. This being the case, 77 years to the Exodus would be the key to understanding the end of the rapture process. Note that Israel is still 77 years old now, and will be until it turns 78 on IR 5 2026, which on the Gregorian calendar is April 22. Also note that just as Jesus mentioned of a specific time, the 23rd and 24th of September 2025, was a nod to a Hebrew holiday, the Feast of Trumpets, so Jesus' phrase, the Exodus, was likely a nod to a specific time, Nisan 14 through 21, the time of the Hebrew calendar which yearly sees the commemoration of Israel's exodus from Egypt. And the only Nisan 14 through 21 which will occur while Israel is still 77 years old is yet future, in April of 2026. So we are looking forward to April of 2026, seeing the end of the rapture process, and are being caught up by Jesus at that time. And I have to mention at this point that in another vision dream given Joshua Malekla in mid-October of 2025, Jesus told him the 15 days will pass, then on the 16th and 17th will be the rapture. I wasn't the first one to notice this, but it is an excellent observation, so I want to mention it. The 14th and 15th of Nisan is Passover. Could this be why Jesus said the 15 days will pass? And if the 16th and 17th of Nisan turns out to be the actual time of the end of the rapture process, then we will see the resurrection of saints on the same Hebrew day of the year on which Jesus rose from his tomb, seeing as how there is scholarly debate ongoing as to whether this occurred on the 16th or the 17th of Nisan. Okay, that was the theory component, and now for the personal supernatural confirmation that I should look to April of 2026 for the rapture of the church. A few days ago, I shared a YouTube community post in which I described and gave the interpretation of a God dream my wife was given about 2 weeks ago. If you have not read that post, please go do so first. Then what I'm about to share will be seen in its proper context. In case you don't have time to read that just now, I will simply say that this revelation was my wife's 47th such since the time she began to receive them from God back in 2022, and it featured a store which only sold mink sweaters, as well as the purchase of turquoise-colored mink sweaters representing the rapture. The ordinal gematria value of mink is 47. Not until just yesterday, though, February 2, did I feel that I really understood why the number 47 was so purposefully featured in the dream. Yesterday, I bumped into the fact that on April 1 of 2026, which also happens to be Nisan 14, as commonly reckoned this year, the Islamic Republic of Iran, the country Israel and the US are about to go to war with, will be exactly 47 years old. I already knew that the state gem of Iran is turquoise, since the country produces the most sought-after quality of turquoise in the world and has mined it for thousands of years. And I noticed yesterday that the color of Iranian turquoise is sky blue, the exact color of the car I own and drive daily to work. That immediately struck me as very interesting, since I have long known that the license plate code on that car, which was assigned to the car before I purchased it, is a clear nod to the time of my first baptism in 1998. Realizing that I have been driving an Iranian turquoise-colored car for years, I had to check the ordinal gematria value of the license plate code, the code which I have seen as a reference to my baptism in 1998. Imagine my amazement to find that this gematria value is exactly 47. How old Iran will be April 1 of 2026. Things got even more amazing for me later the same day when I realized that I was baptized in April of 1998, exactly to the month, 4 times 7 years before April of 2026. Suffice it to say that I am now totally convinced that the Lord has ordained that my wife and I become highly expectant of the rapture process completing this coming April. If you are expectant too, please like, subscribe, share, and put your thoughts in the comments section below. God bless.